So with hypnosis, hypnosis is the tool that lets you step out of your current reality into your desired reality. So making that shift, because if you think about it, we all have our different aims, but to use an example here, if your aim is to be an Olympian, you don't train for 4 years, become an Olympian, then get the habits of an Olympian. You have the habits first, and that's what leads you to having the outcome. So you have to be in the state of the outcome before you're going to get the outcome. So hypnosis is the tool that lets us move in or out of the current reality back into the reality that we want to be in. So when I work with someone one-on-one, sessions are about 45 minutes. I charge $350 for a session right now. And what we do is switching from the past into the desired future, because it does not matter how real our current limits are, because it is just based on belief. So the examples that I'm going to give you today are examples that what we think is going on in our brain is just our brain telling us what it thinks is true. It's not necessarily what is or isn't true. Any limits that we do or don't have aren't really real. It's just what our brain believes is real. So Jikas, if you come up front, perfect. Now, you don't have to listen too closely to what I say. It's not what I say, it's how I say it. And everything that we're going to cover today is the principles behind why hypnosis works. Because the outcome that I want for all of you is to understand how you move from whatever limitations you have right now into the mentality of whoever it is that you want to be instead. So, have I hypnotized you before? Can you put your hand up if I have hypnotized you before? Perfect. And I tried on these two when I didn't know what I was doing, and it didn't work. So it will work today. Perfect. Cool. Place your feet together for me like this. I forgot I was going to take my shoes off, so I got toe socks on. So don't judge. When I say the word sleep, you're not actually going to sleep. Everyone listen to this as well. Does anyone here not want to be hypnotized? Perfect. Okay, cool. If you really don't want to at any point, then just cover your ears. If that's not what you want, just cover your ears. When I say the word sleep, you're not actually going to sleep. Your eyes will close, your body will relax. You're still aware of what's going on around you, but you'll be focused in on my voice. When you understand and accept that, just go ahead and close your eyes for me.
I can't really balance like this. Can I do a little bit?
Can't balance like that.
The mats.
Put your feet together like this. Cool. Move over there. Nice. Spread your feet a little bit. Cool. You feel steady now? Perfect. Give me your hand. Actually, do you remember what I said?
Yes.
Perfect. Give me your hand. Cool. Look at your hand. Look at the lines in your hand. Notice your eyes going in and out of focus and sleep. Perfect. Just like that. Closing your eyes, relaxing your body, sinking all the way down. Perfect. Let go of your arm, or holding any tension, letting go all the way down. Perfect. Just like that. Now I want you to imagine that your eyelids are beginning to get heavier and heavier with every second that passes. I want you to imagine that your eyelids are beginning to get so heavy and so relaxed that in a moment, just for a little while, they will begin to feel stuck. Let your whole body hang loose and limp like a rag doll. Now I want you to imagine that your eyelids are getting so heavy and so relaxed that it feels like concrete blocks are pulling them down tighter and tighter and tighter until in a moment they are so heavy and so relaxed that you cannot open them. The harder you try to move them, the more stuck they become. Just go ahead and test that out for us. Perfect, just like that, sinking all the way down. Eyes open, cool. Wide awake, cool. Already, that's the very lightest trance, and already Dreeks is a little bit spaced out. You can see as he opens his eyes, whoa, okay, so take a seat again. Now I'm just gonna explain what trance is so that we can go deeper. Trance is leaving the present moment in order to go somewhere better. And that's what we have to do if we want to succeed in whatever it is that we're doing. Whatever goal you have, becoming a UFC fighter, you have to leave your present reality, which is, oh, I'm just a teenager, I'm just a 20-year-old fighting amateur. You have to leave present reality in order to step into the reality that you want. So the people who are best and most hypnotizable are often the most successful, because they are the ones that are willing to step out of any limitations that they currently have. Now, trance is not sleep. different ways that we can do it. If I have Dricus sitting down, his body will relax even more. I'm not sure if you heard him say, but he said his feet weren't steady like this. And the only things that hold someone back is their own mind. If he thinks that he's gonna fall over, he's gonna tighten and hold on, and we don't want you holding on, we don't want you holding back. Any reservation in the body is reservation in the mind as well. Being held back physically is holding yourself back mentally as well. So I'm gonna take you all through a little exercise now. So in hypnosis, you don't have to have your eyes closed. You're not actually going to sleep. Hypnosis is leaving the present moment in order to move towards the desired outcome. And once you understand that, you'll know how to move past the limits that you currently have. So for example, 3 years ago, I was around here. I don't think I had found Jake's gym yet, but I was working as a personal trainer. And I still remember very vividly, I went down to Pack and Save GI, which is not the nicest Pack and Save. And I was sat in the car park and I was crying in the car park because I had $10 left in my account. So I either had dinner, $10 for dinner that night from Pack and Save, or I had $10 to use the fuel at Pack and Save in order to drive myself back home. I was sat there crying because I had asked our friend Callum the week before for $40. I'd asked my dad for $40 the week before that. And even in that moment, when literally nothing was working for me, I had $10 left and that was it. It didn't matter, and I was able to push through because I had the vision of the reality that I wanted. So whatever physical, tangible limits that you have are unimportant if you know what it is that you're moving towards. So as much as $10 and nothing to my name was very frustrating, I knew where it was going, I knew what it was building towards, and therefore I didn't give up. So if you have that ideal reality more and more real, that allows you to move past whatever limits there are in the physical reality. So being able to suspend disbelief, being able to step into what you want rather than what you're surrounded by, is what we're working on today, and that's what allows you to make changes. You have to feel what you want to feel now in order to get the outcome. A lot of people are waiting to feel motivated once they have the result, once they have the better job, the better house, the better life. But if you're miserable and sad until then, you're never going to put in the work to get that. So we have to have the feelings now in order to get the result. So if everyone could place your hands together like this, fingers apart, wide apart, gap in between your fingers. Cool. Now I want you all to imagine and focus on your fingers. Everyone looking at your own fingers, and I want you to imagine that there is a steel ring slowly wrapping around your fingers, pulling them in, focusing on your fingers. I want you now to imagine that this steel ring is getting tighter and tighter and tighter with every second that passes, until a moment your fingers will get so stuck and so close that they begin to touch. Now I want you to imagine that this steel ring is getting so tight now that your fingers are touching. And if you are imagining this correctly, your fingers will come together now. So if they haven't already, bring them together. Imagine your fingers getting tighter and tighter now that they touch. Perfect. Imagine this steel ring getting stronger and stronger and wrapping tighter and tighter around your fingers until you feel the pressure building in your fingers. Focus on your fingers. Imagine this steel ring merging tighter and tighter and tighter into your fingers until your fingers are made of steel and they are so tight and so trapped that in a moment when you try to open them, you cannot open them. Imagine that your fingers are so tight that you cannot open them. And when you've imagined that and when you believe that, just go ahead and test it out for us. Perfect. Cool. And let it go, unstuck. Just like that, perfect. So that's a light trance with your eyes open. Now Josh, come up here for a second. So there's 5 different ways that you can move into hypnosis. That is conversational. So when you feel that feeling, you're guiding your mind in the way that you want to. most of our patterns are on autopilot. Now, I've trained Joss for a little bit, and Joss has some automatic patterns or tendencies that you fall back into, which don't serve you as well. So the subconscious mind is where we store those tendencies. Now, why we focus on our fingers like that, or why I do the induction that I'm about to do, is because by occupying the conscious mind completely, we're able to make subconscious changes. So the results that you have right now are based on your subconscious beliefs.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So when you are giving instruction,
Yeah.
you're consciously acting upon your instruction,
Mm-hmm.
and then the subconscious or the trance comes as a result after.
Exactly.
So we shouldn't fight.
No.
What are you telling? We should go along with it.
So you can think of it like this. We essentially have two minds. Now the subconscious is the only one that matters, because the conscious mind is slow, weak, and shit. The conscious mind processes 150 to 250 bits of information per second. The subconscious mind processes 150 to 250 million bits of information per second. The conscious mind is the new mind. It's the one that only humans have and no other creature has ever had. But it's critical thinking, it's logical thinking, which is very, very slow. Now, to give an awesome example here, the conscious mind isn't coming into play for any of you kickboxers. The conscious mind is too slow, so everything is based on what's going on in your subconscious. Now, realize subconscious, sub and conscious means below what we're aware of. So the results that we're getting in our life is mostly guided by things that we aren't even consciously aware of. So we're doing all this thinking, we're thinking all these thoughts, but those aren't even what's dictating our life. So your subconscious is what beats your heart, it sets up your rhythms, it can control your emotions if you don't let it. So we can think better, we can talk to ourselves a little bit better, but I'm sure all of us have tried to make changes in our habits, and we thought really hard, we worked really hard, but at the end of the day, it only lasted a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then we found ourselves in the bad pattern. And that's because it was a conscious change, but not yet a subconscious change. So now, how hypnosis works is we occupy the conscious mind. We busy the conscious mind enough to allow us access into the subconscious. So I'm going to explain what we're doing here. Cool, turn towards me. Put your feet together for me like that. Squeeze them tighter. Actually stand over there a little bit more. And this way. Cool, place your feet together for me like that. Cool. Now, all of you from today will know how to hypnotize someone. I learned off of an 8-minute YouTube video, and then I've just done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reps. So I've shortcutted it. I've done only the essential parts. Now, placing his feet together, he's already in a light trance. I will explain why in just a second, but he's already in a light trance. And our conscious mind, right? 150 to 250 bits of information. There's not a lot it can focus on. So when you're focusing on your fingers, when you're looking at your fingers, we're occupying so much of the conscious mind already that there's not much more room after that. So give me a hand. Cool. Look at your hand. Look at the lines in your hand. Notice your eyes going in and out of focus, and sleep perfect, just like that, relaxing more and more and more, letting go of any tension in your arms. Now perfect. I want you to imagine that your eyelids are beginning to get so heavy and so relaxed. Now feel this relaxation spreading from your head into your neck, into your shoulders. Feel your weight sinking deeper and deeper and deeper. Feel your whole body relax more and more and more. Eyes up and wide awake. And sleep perfect, just like that. 10 times deeper every time you go back in, sinking deeper and deeper. Eyes open, sleep, eyes open, sleep, eyes open, wide awake, wide awake. Cool. Now what I want you to notice here is everything that we're doing is designed to confuse the mind a little bit. So when I said give me your hand, I didn't go in for a handshake. I made him look at his hand, because the conscious mind, you can just take a seat for a second. The conscious mind has a series of patterns. And when you interrupt that pattern, the brain goes, oh shit, what the hell's going on here? So when we're in that confused state, the brain is immediately more suggestible. So sometimes if someone hits you with a passive-aggressive comment or a backhanded compliment, it sinks way deeper because you're a little bit like, did he really just say that? Did he mean it? When you're confused, the conscious mind is out of order, and that's what allows us to get into the subconscious. If you take a seat back there for just a second. So we have the conscious mind, the conscious filter, and the subconscious mind. Usually, the conscious filter protects any information from getting into the subconscious, because anything that is in the subconscious is immediately acted upon as true. But when we confuse the conscious mind, that takes the conscious filter down and allows us access into what can be changed. So to remove the conscious filter is to allow us better programming. So when I get him to look at the lines in his hand, your conscious mind is 90% dedicated to what goes on within your eyes. So if you're allocating so much attention to your conscious mind on your hand, there's not much more room for anything else to be going on, and therefore you slip past the conscious mind. Does anyone have any questions about anything that I said so far?
I feel like I was still like conscious.
Exactly, you are. So when that's cool. I skipped a step with you a little bit. So when I did it with Dreeks, I said, when I say the word sleep, you're not actually going to sleep. Your eyes will close, your body will relax. You're still aware of what's going on around you, but you'll be focused in on my voice. So you do have the conscious mind active the whole time, because if you were asleep, you wouldn't hear anything I said, right?
Yeah, I don't know what I was just saying.
It's confusing, the first time you're like, because you're still consciously aware.
Well, for example, we hypnotized you with your eyes open just before. So you responded even better to that than you did when your eyes were closed, because you were expecting something different. Yeah. So you can hear the whole time. That's the whole point. So Hamish, if you come up here. Perfect. Cool. Now, do you want to be hypnotized?
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. Put your feet together for me like this. Perfect. Did you hear what I said just before?
Yeah.
What was it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought so. Knew that was going to be the case. Cool. When I say the word sleep, you're not actually going to sleep. Your eyes will close, your body will relax. Look at me. You're still aware of what's going on around you, but you're focusing on my voice, okay?
Yeah.
Give me a hand and sleep, close your eyes, perfect, just like that. I want you to imagine now a staircase in your mind. Imagine yourself walking down this set of stairs. Any noise that you do hear focuses you in on my voice more and more. With step 10, walking down this staircase, relaxing your body more and more with every second that passes. I want you to imagine now with step 8, with step 7, with step 6, relaxing your mind more and more and more. I want you now to imagine that there's a cloud in your mind, taking any doubt, any hesitation, any distraction out, allowing you to relax more and more with every second that passes. With step 3, sinking 10 times deeper. With step 2, step 1, relaxing all the way down. Eyes open and sleep just like that. Eyes open. Every time you go in, sinking 10 times deeper. Cool. Eyes open. Give me a hand and sleep just like that, relaxing all the way down, deeper and deeper and deeper. Cool. Now, just sit for a moment. I want you to imagine that your head is getting more relaxed. Imagine that relaxation spreading all the way down into your neck, into your shoulders, into your hips, into your waist, until in a moment, your feet are beginning to feel heavier and heavier. You're safe on your feet. You're not going to fall over, but your feet are so heavy and so relaxed that in a moment, just for a little while, they begin to feel stuck. Now I want you to imagine and choose to believe that your feet are so heavy that feels like they are being pulled down by concrete blocks. Any movement you do feel is them getting stuck tighter and tighter and tighter until in a moment, just for a little while, they begin to feel stuck. Cool, eyes open, wide awake. Try to move your feet, notice you can't. The harder you try to move, the more stuck they become. Every second that passes, they get more and more stuck. Cool, give me a hand. And sleep just like that, relaxing all the way down, all the way deep. Perfect, just like that, all the way down. Perfect. Sinking deeper and deeper. Every noise that you hear pulls you in deeper and deeper and deeper. Perfect, just like that. Feeling safe, feeling calm, totally relaxed. Perfect. Cool, relaxing more and more and more. Now eyes open. And sleep all the way back down. Perfect. Relaxing more and more. Any noise that you do hear focuses you in more and more on my voice. Now what I want you to imagine is your whole body feeling so heavy and so relaxed that it feels like you're being squished and pulled down tighter and tighter into the ground. And now what I want you to focus on is your own breath, because the mind controls the body and the body controls the mind. As the mind tells the body to breathe, the body breathes and the mind responds. So I want you to realize now that your whole body is so heavy and so relaxed that it feels like you are sinking deeper and deeper into the ground with every second that passes, until in a moment when you open your eyes, you cannot get back up. Cool. Eyes open, wide awake. Perfect. Cool. Stand back up. How do you feel?
What the hell?
What the hell? Perfect. Give me your hand and take a seat. There we go. Nice work. Cool. So there's different layers to trance, and that's not necessarily like, the more confident you are, the deeper you allow yourself to relax. So Hamish is very confident, so he can relax more and more and more. Now, I have my largest video, which is the girl in the blue outfit and she falls over and collapses. She's extremely confident because she's a dancer, right? She's very used to being looked at, to letting go, to relaxing. So as you get more confident, you're able to follow instructions more, because it's only your own mind that holds you back. But the reason it is so important to let go, the reason we practice letting go with all of these various different methods, with the fingers, with the hand, with conversational, is because if you can let go right now, you can make changes. It's only by stepping out of where you're at that you can make changes. Because there's a great study on these Indian farmers, and for some reason, the farmers get paid once per year. They get their year's salary in one day. And so they measured the IQ of these farmers when they had just received their salary, and then they measured it 1 month out, when their money is obviously running low, when they're feeling their most stressed. And by the time that they had gone through 11 months of salary, by the time they were feeling the pressure, their IQ points were 15 lower than when they had just received their money. So when you feel like you're abundant, when you feel like you have everything covered, when you can control the positive emotion, you have access to more of your own brain, you're more intelligent, and can therefore produce more results. So many of us go through negative phases of our life where things aren't going well in a relationship, they're not going well in our career, in our sport, and this causes us to have uncertainty, doubt, and negativity in our mind. But the more negative you feel, the weaker, less productive, and less intelligent you are. So in the moment where your life is worst, that's where you need to make the most changes. But if you feel shit, those changes are going to take even longer, and you're going to do things less productively. So hypnosis allows us to control our focus, which controls our emotions and therefore our behaviors. If you feel like you're going to lose your fight, how hard are you going to train for it? How much less effort are you going to put into it? But if you knew for a fact that your next fight was the one that's going to get you scouted and signed to the UFC, or it's going to get you, the next interview you go to is going to get you the promotion, the next date you go on is going to get you the dream relationship, how much more effort would you put in? So hypnosis allows us to have the big goal, which gives us the big feeling and the big motivation to take action. So we have to step out of where we are right now in order to get to where we want to go. So, has anyone got questions on that part?
It's particularly relevant what you're saying. You know, the highs and the lows. Tough market.
Yeah.
And feel, 11 months out. It's so relevant.
Exactly. So all of these finger focusing on your eyes, the progressive relaxation that I'm going to take you through all before we wrap up, all of those are ways of taking the conscious mind out, because our conscious mind is an idiot. We all talk to ourselves like, oh, I'm not good enough, I get distracted too easily. All that negative self-talk isn't productive. So hypnosis is the art of capturing your conscious mind enough to push it to the side and make subconscious changes. So Josh, like you said, you're not actually asleep at any point, but what we're doing is we're getting your conscious mind to think about the right things enough that the rest of what we're doing is going into the subconscious mind. Because in a fight, the subconscious controls so much of our life that there's no speed to be aware of it. Because if you believe that you are destined to lose, then the subconscious is what's reacting quickly. So if you believe that you are destined to lose, the subconscious will find a way to lose. And that can be something as stupid as leaving your hands too low in a fight would be a good example, or getting really cocky. So some of us self-sabotage. The better you do, it gets to a certain point and then we let ourselves go without even realizing it. Because consciously, we're doing really, really well, but our mind has a thermostat in it. And let's say that you're set for a 24-degree level of success. When you feel yourself approaching 22 degrees, 23 degrees, your conscious mind goes, yay, we're winning, we're winning, we're winning. But the subconscious goes, shit, we can't go any higher than this. We're not any better than this, because we believe that for whatever reason. Now, our beliefs creep in from other people, from our childhood programming, from the results that we've gotten so far, but it's hypnosis that can change that. Because if you were told that you aren't going to do very well, if you were told that you're hopeless, if you were told that your life's going to be pretty miserable, especially from 0 to 7, we don't have any filter that stops those beliefs from getting in there, so they become acted upon immediately. So you can be put into negative states in childhood, and that makes you hold on to that negative thing. So just to make this really, really clear, when I was a personal trainer, I started off, obviously at the start I made like $200 a week, $300, $400, and it was really, really hard for me to make money. And eventually I had over a year, about 18 months of evidence saying that money is really hard to make for me. And my subconscious believed that money was impossible to make. So even as I built up more experience, I started seeing a lot more clients. I actually ended up selling $2,500 worth of personal training every week. But regardless of what's going on in your life, your subconscious will only allow you to succeed to the level that it is programmed to. So I was making $2,500. I was selling $2,500 per week worth of personal training. I only kept 1,000 of that because the gym took the rest, which is, if you're in personal training, a horrible deal. But I didn't realize that at the time because my subconscious, the stuff I wasn't aware of, was looking for a way to prove to itself that money is hard to make. If the subconscious believes that money is hard to make, your subconscious will design your life so that that is true. And then on top of that, I spent $200 to $300 per week at the cafe that was attached to our gym. I was like 19 or 20. It was vegan food as well. I don't even eat vegan food. I was spending $200 or $300 a week on this vegan food. And like you two can remember, when things changed for me was we went on holiday to Rotorua, and I literally spent $0 on the whole trip because that is how much I could afford to spend. And when I got back, I was still short on money. So even as I made a fuck ton more, even as I was selling $2,500 worth of stuff, because my mind believed that money was hard to make, I found it hard to make money. And so it's not until you change the belief that you can change the results that you're getting. So whatever you have right now, whatever difficulties that you have there, are only there because your subconscious mind is not letting you break through that. So when I switched to hypnosis, I made a lot more money very, very quickly, and I allowed myself to believe that that was possible because I set a new normal for myself. And hypnosis is the conditioning of a new normal. The brain cannot tell the difference between a real experience and an imagined experience. So putting the reps in your imagination conditions your mind to become acclimatized to that thing. Because whatever we have right now, whatever frustrations we have, we are more comfortable with than the opposite. Whatever you haven't changed already, you are choosing to have in your life. So it's not until you make your normal your ideal. You have to make what you want more comfortable, more familiar, more certain than what you have right now. Because if your goals were actually normal for you, you would already have them. It's the very fact that we're uncomfortable with success or with our dream, that's the reason why we don't have it. So hypnosis is the practice, and I use this daily to put myself into the state that I want to be in rather than the one that I'm currently at. So self-hypnosis, I'll give you all an audio to listen to daily, and the reason why I do that, but I also do sessions. So in a session with my client, there's something called the law of facilitation. The more times a neural route is traveled, the more easy it becomes for that route to be traveled. So if you look at a pane of glass with rain flowing down it, the rain will follow the same route. There's a few random dots, but for the most part, they start to follow the same route because it becomes easier. There's more momentum going down that route. So your life is the way it is right now because you have momentum with your life being this way. Your life has a flow that's already been set to go like this. Hypnosis is the one that gets you off of this train track onto a different train track. You can make that switch, but the way that a switch happens, your neurology is dictated by frequency or intensity. So the more times you travel a route, the more times you're going to continue to travel a route. Or the more intensely that route is traveled, the more emotion you can commit to that route, the bigger the switch, or the more likely you are to continue down that path. So once again, now that you understand what the purpose of hypnosis is, everyone knows that you're not going to sleep. I'm going to take you through, this is what I would do in a one-to-one session. It's obviously a little bit less specific, but if you all just find a posture on your chairs where you're able to relax, if anyone wants to grab some water first, I'm just going to grab some myself.